Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to cut through the noise and really get to the core insights from some fascinating research out there.
That's the plan.
So today, we're asking a pretty big question. How is AI really reshaping our world? Not just, the splashy headlines, but the profound stuff, the behind-the-scenes applications actually doing good.
Exactly. This deep dive is all about uncovering how AI is being used for, significant social good, tackling these huge global challenges,
Right.
but also exploring some of the, frankly, surprising and very practical uses popping up as the tech just races ahead.
Yeah, we're looking at how AI, especially these large language models, are being put to work in areas like humanitarian aid, accessibility, even improving education, which we'll get to. We've pulled together insights from a World Bank job posting, an AI industry newsletter, and several really cutting-edge research papers.
And our mission, as always, is to pull out the key nuggets of knowledge, look at the capabilities, the limitations too, and figure out why it matters for you.
Okay, so to really unpack this, let's start with a big example.
Yeah.
When we talk AI for social good, the World Bank's Development Impact Group, DIME, seems to be right at the forefront.
They really are.
How does an organization that huge even start to integrate something as, new and complex as AI into its mission?
Well, DIME, the Development Impact Group, it's part of the World Bank's development economics arm, and it operates on just an enormous scale.
Right.
Their core mission is basically getting research evidence and impact evaluations used more effectively in public policy, bridging that gap between researcher and policymakers.
Okay.
And they're doing this across all sorts of sectors in about 60 countries, I think, with over 220 impact evaluations running.
Wow.
So their AI lab sees AI and machine learning as, and this is their phrase, pioneering the next frontier to speed all that up. But crucially, they stress this commitment to the highest ethical standards and rigor, especially, when working with vulnerable communities.
That's a huge scope. Okay, let's dive into some specific projects. First up, Zero Hunger AI. Sounds ambitious. What's the problem it's tackling?
It's tackling the really dire problem of global food insecurity. Undernourishment has actually risen quite tragically. We're talking 580 million people back in 2012, up to 730 million in 2022.
That's staggering.
It is. And factors like climate change, population growth, political instability, economic issues, they all make it worse, hitting the most vulnerable hardest.
And the challenge is predicting it.
Exactly. Predicting these crises is incredibly tough because the data is often way out of date.
So how does AI change the game here? What's the actual mechanism?
DIME AI ran this research pilot using natural language processing, NLP, on non-traditional data, think news articles, things like that,
Okay.
to detect the really early signs of food crises.
And the impact.
Pretty compelling. This approach improves forecasts by up to 46%, and get this, a year in advance.
A whole year.
Yeah, which provides absolutely crucial time for proactive measures. Integrating this real-time news helps decision-making where data is scarce, improving humanitarian responses,
Yeah.
potentially saving lives.
That's genuinely a profound shift from reactive to predictive.
It really enables this idea of predictive governance, letting organizations step in before things get critical.
So what's next for Zero Hunger AI? Sounds like they're scaling up.
They absolutely are. Scaling this pilot from 37 countries into a live public good. The aim is weekly updates, district level, across 82 countries.
Wow, the ambition is huge.
It is. The driving force is just the proven impact and the urgent need. Plus, they're looking at adding local languages and geospatial signals for even finer-grained predictions, making it better for diverse, vulnerable populations.
Okay, let's switch gears slightly. Impact AI. This is described as DIME AI's flagship initiative. What's the challenge here?
Impact AI is tackling the difficulty of accessing causal evidence. You have just vast amounts of impact evaluation research out there.
Right, mountains of reports.
Exactly. Hundreds of evaluations, thousands of pages. It's incredibly hard for a policymaker to quickly find the specific insight they need to make a better decision.
So the solution uses LLMs, large language models, to sift through it all. But what's the innovative part?
The innovation is an added generative AI layer on top. So users can ask questions in just plain English, natural language, and get personalized, precise answers back instead of having to manually hunt through dense reports.
So it lowers the barrier to entry, basically.
Massively. For development practitioners, policymakers, NGOs, academics, the whole economic research community, it really democratizes access to this vital knowledge.
That's powerful. Now, social AI sounds like it's wading into even trickier territory. Online content, bias, hate speech.
Yeah, it's dealing with bias, hate speech, and misinformation, which disproportionately harm marginalized groups, especially in the global south.
And the problem is standard tools don't work well there.
Often not. Conventional hate speech detection, HSD models, they often rely on US-centric data, biased data sets sometimes, which make them look like they're performing better than they actually are in different cultural contexts.
So the AI solution needs to be culturally tailored. How do they make that work responsibly?
Absolutely. The solution combines these culturally tailored HSD models with, and this is key, essential human oversight.
Human in the loop again.
Always.
Ah.
For instance, their research on Nigerian tweets showed that human review of just 1% of the flagged tweets, when you combine it with tailored models, could actually moderate 60% of the hateful content found.
That's efficient.
Very. And they're also trying proactive stuff like identifying users sharing hate content and targeting them with celebrity-led pro-social ads, trying to counter the spread.
Fascinating approach.
Yeah.
What's next for social AI?
Well, scaling to more countries and developing something called an entertainment media gender monitor.
Okay, what's that?
It's for analyzing content, focusing on gender norms in TV shows and media consumed by adolescent girls and young women. Plus, evaluating context-specific gender bias in LLMs when they operate in the global south.
That's really digging into the nuances. So
Yeah.
an AI engineer working on these projects at the World Bank? Sounds like an intense but maybe rewarding job. What's involved day to day?
Oh, it's a pretty comprehensive role. You'd be collecting and prepping huge data sets, corpora, for training,
Right.
fine-tuning state-of-the-art models, Llama, Gemini, GPT, whichever fits, enhancing the core parts of these models, the encoder architectures, to get better insights from, unstructured text.
And then getting them out there.
Exactly. Implementing robust evaluation frameworks, assessing performance, and then deploying these models in the cloud, GCP, AWS, making sure they scale and are accessible.
That really brings home the practical side. It's not just theory, it's building and deploying actual systems.
Yeah.
And those systems rely heavily on the cutting-edge LLMs we hear so much about. Which I guess brings us neatly to our next point. How fast are these foundational models evolving? What are the new frontiers there?
Incredibly fast, and we're seeing some interesting dynamics. Take GPT 4.5. When it came out, praised for better emotional intelligence, conversational skills, but critics pointed to the, frankly, prohibitive pricing. $75 per $1 million input tokens, $150 for output, that's steep. And initially, some felt the improvements were only marginal, though later blind tests suggested it did perform very well on coding and math, so mixed signals, perhaps?
The cost is definitely a hurdle for widespread use. What about new capabilities, things beyond just chatting?
Well, Google's Gemini now lets you ask questions using video or even what's on your screen in real time.
Oh, interesting.
And it's integrated with Gmail for add to calendar buttons, even a Gemini panel in Google Calendar for managing your schedule.
And Amazon's Alexa.
Alexa Plus has been re-architected using LLMs through Amazon Bedrock, so it integrates much more deeply with your schedule, smart home, entertainment. It can even summarize your Ring camera footage. Is that free?
Free for Prime members, or about $20 a month otherwise.
So AI assistants are getting much more integrated. And Microsoft's making moves too, right? Not just relying on OpenAI.
That's right. They're developing their own models called MAI, partly to reduce that reliance. And performance seems comparable to OpenAI's offerings.
Diversifying their bets.
Seems like it. They're also evaluating models from other labs, xAI's Grok, Anthropic's Claude, Meta's Llama, casting a wide net.
So beyond the big names, what about the underlying tech? Any big architectural shifts?
Yeah, this is where it gets interesting. It's not just more models, but more diverse architectures. For example, you've got things like Hunyuan Turbo S emerging, claimed to be the first ultra-large hybrid transformer Mamba Moe model.
Okay, that's a mouthful. What's the point?
The claim is better performance than GPT-4, but at a lower cost. So exploring these hybrid designs combining different AI strengths, and at the other end of the scale, smaller models.
Exactly. Ultra-lightweight open-source models like QWQ are reportedly outperforming bigger ones like DeepSeek R1 on some tasks. It shows you don't always need massive size for top results, especially in NLP. Huge potential for efficiency there.
Fascinating trade-offs. Not just bigger is better. And what about diffusion LLMs? You mentioned that sounds like a potential game changer.
It really could be. This is a totally different approach. Instead of generating word by word like most models, these diffusion-based LLMs can generate the entire output in a single pass.
Wow.
It's a different mathematical process, inspired by diffusion models used in image generation. The promise is huge leaps in efficiency and speed. Inception Labs' Mercury model, for instance, claims over 1,000 words per second.
1,000 words a second. That's hard to even picture. How are these speed and efficiency gains showing up in, like, creative fields or daily life?
Well, in gaming, Microsoft has this Muse AI tool that helps generate gameplay videos, streamlining development, letting designers prototype faster. And Google's Game Gen project even made a playable version of Doom without using a traditional game engine, just AI.
Fully AI-generated games, though.
Still seems a way off. But the tools are getting there. In entertainment, Prime Video is trying AI-assisted dubbing for some shows, and Hedra's Character 3 is being called the first omnimodal model in production for video creation. It reasons across images, text, and audio together.
And beyond entertainment, personal devices, accessibility, that seems like a key area.
Definitely. Apple's putting AI-powered app review summaries in iOS 18.4. New Macs and iPads have beefed up M3, M4 chips with better neural engines. Perplexity added a voice mode to its Mac app.
Standard upgrades, kind of. Anything more? Groundbreaking.
Well, this new bionic hand is pretty remarkable. It combines a rigid skeleton with soft, flexible joints. And the fingertips have this multi-layered sensor system.
To do what?
To distinguish textures and objects with, they claim, 98.38% accuracy. That's a huge step towards mimicking real human touch, real potential for prosthetics.
That really is revolutionary for assistive tech.
Yeah.
And conversational AI itself, is it actually sounding more human?
It seems like it. Sesame's new AI voice tech, their Maya and Miles assistants. Apparently, in blind tests, people often couldn't tell them apart from human recordings. And Meta's next Llama models, Llama 4, might have upgraded voice capabilities too, letting you interrupt them mid-speech more naturally.
Okay, so with all these advanced models talking to us, interacting, what do we need to understand about how we talk to them? Does it matter how we ask?
Absolutely. A Wharton study showed that model responses really vary depending on how you phrase the prompt, the context you give.
So prompt engineering is still key.
Very much so. They found that specific formatting instructions can actually boost performance. But interestingly, being polite, it could sometimes help, but sometimes actually hinder accuracy.
Really? Being polite makes it worse sometimes.
Apparently so, in some contexts. It just underlines that critical need for human oversight and, well, skillful interaction. A one-size-fits-all prompt just won't cut it.
That's a crucial point as AI gets woven deeper into everything. It's not just the AI's smarts, but our skill in guiding it.
Precisely.
So as AI gets more powerful, more pervasive, navigating the complexities, like privacy and human oversight, becomes absolutely critical. We just touched on needing humans for prompting, but let's dig into privacy. It feels like a constant tightrope walk.
It really is. Privacy-preserving NLP, natural language processing, it's not optional, it's an imperative. LLMs need huge amounts of data, right?
Right.
And that data often has personally identifiable information, PII. The scary part is, recent research shows you can extract private info from trained models. That's a massive privacy threat and raises huge red flags under rules like GDPR.
Okay, so what are researchers doing about that? How do you stop the models leaking PII?
They're focusing on techniques like anonymization and pseudonymization.
What's the difference?
Anonymization is about removing PII so you can't re-identify someone. Pseudonymization is replacing PII with realistic but fake substitutes.
Like changing names in places.
Exactly. John, engineer at Microsoft in California, might become Mike, engineer at Apple in New York. Plausible, but not real.
So what methods are actually used for this pseudonymization?
There are a few main approaches. One uses named entity recognition, NER models, to spot the PII and then swap it with similar things from knowledge bases like Wikidata.
Okay.
Another uses LLMs themselves, maybe GPT-3, to find the entities, then ChatGPT to do the swapping because it's qualitatively quite good at it.
Using AI to protect against AI leakage?
Kind of, yeah. And then there are ontology and rule-based methods. They use knowledge graphs to identify PII and apply techniques like k-anonymity.
K-anonymity, what's that?
It's a technique ensuring any piece of data can't be traced back unless there are at least k identical entries. So if k is 5, your data looks like at least 4 other people's, blends you into a crowd. They also use specific rules for things like names or dates.
These sound like solid technical fixes, but what are the limitations? Are they foolproof?
Far from it. A big issue is that most research is still very English-centric. We desperately need development for other languages, German, Mandarin, you name it.
Right.
There's also a real lack of annotated data, which makes developing these tools expensive. Sometimes the ontology methods can overmask, removing too much info, making the data less useful.
And comparing methods.
That's another problem. There's no standard set of metrics to compare different anonymization approaches, so it's hard to even know how much progress we're making or which method is truly best for a given situation.
Makes sense. If you can't measure it, it's hard to improve it. Okay, let's shift to AI and mental health. Huge promise there, surely, but also significant risks.
Absolutely. LLMs have opened up possibilities for assessment, counseling, education, potentially improving accessibility and efficiency dramatically.
Are there specialized models for this?
Yes, some are emerging, like Zixian, which is a Chinese model fine-tuned on psychiatric datasets, and SoulChat, which is specifically focused on generating empathetic responses.
That sounds incredibly useful, especially for expanding access. But what are the downsides, the limitations researchers are seeing?
Well, a big study looked at 15 state-of-the-art LLMs, including things like DeepSeek R1, GPT 4.1, Llama 4, QWQ, and Chinese mental health scenarios, testing knowledge, diagnosis ability. And while some models did okay, the overall conclusion was that their professional competence and the potential risks, well, they remain pretty unclear.
Why unclear?
Past studies often use older models or relied on manual evaluations, which can be biased. Plus, LLMs tend to default to common diagnoses like anxiety when they're uncertain.
Okay, that's not ideal.
No. And relying on single-turn, text-only inputs really limits how well you can assess complex mental health situations. It just raises that big question. How do we make sure these systems are reliable and ethically sound for real-world use, especially in such a sensitive area?
That's a critical concern. And it sounds like lawmakers are noticing the broader AI boom.
Oh, definitely. The pace of AI development has caught their attention big time. In the U.S., just in the first 2 months of 2025, 781 AI-related bills were introduced.
781.
In 2 months.
Yep, more than in all of 2024 combined. It just shows the urgent perceived need for regulatory frameworks around AI's capabilities and, well, its risks.
So pulling this section together, what's the big takeaway for actually using AI, whether it's for social good or anything else?
It all comes back to that human-in-the-loop idea. It's essential. Whether you're trying to mitigate bias, ensure ethical oversight in sensitive fields like mental health, or just make sense of AI's sometimes weird outputs. Human involvement is absolutely critical.
So AI is a tool, a powerful one, but it needs human guidance.
Human guidance, judgment, context, that's key for it to be effective and, crucially, safe.
Right. It's clear that balancing innovation with responsibility is absolutely vital. Now, let's shift again and explore some really surprising applications and maybe glimpse the future of AI integration.
And this is where it gets, for me anyway, really interesting. You might think AI is good at language, maybe images, but estimating how hard an exam question is.
Yeah, this is a fascinating study. They compared LLM-based methods against university professors. The task: estimate what percentage of students would get true-false questions right in courses on neural networks and machine learning.
Okay, high-level stuff. So what did they find? How did the professors do?
Not great, actually. The professors showed a pretty limited ability to distinguish easy questions from hard ones. Some professors' predictions had basically no correlation with actual student performance.
Ouch. So how did the AI do?
Well, simply asking Gemini 2.5 to estimate the difficulty that outperformed the professors?
Just asking the AI straight up was better than the experts.
In this case, yes. But here's the real kicker.
There's more.
Oh, yeah. The most fascinating finding was using a different approach, a supervised learning method. It looked at the uncertainty level of 9 different LLMs when they tried to answer the questions themselves.
Okay, so how uncertain the AIs were.
Exactly. And this method substantially outperformed both the professors and the direct prediction from Gemini 2.5. And it worked well with very little training data, like just 42 sample questions from a couple of old exams.
Wow, so using AI uncertainty as a signal was the best predictor?
Significantly better accuracy, higher rank correlation. It suggests AI could really impact educational assessment, not just in language, but in complex mathematical reasoning, too.
So what's the implication for universities? AI replaces exam setters.
Not replaces, no. But it means universities could use archived exam data to build systems that estimate question difficulty much more accurately and efficiently.
Supporting the professors.
Exactly, supporting them to design better, more balanced exams. You'd still absolutely need the human in the loop for context, for unusual topics maybe,
Right.
but it really challenges our assumptions about what expertise means in some areas, doesn't it? Maybe professors can spend less time guessing difficulty and more time crafting really creative, insightful questions, knowing the AI can help calibrate.
That's a fantastic example of AI as a powerful support tool. Okay, let's look at another surprising one. Inclusive AI bridging financial guidance gaps, in Nigeria specifically.
Yes, this is a really impressive project tackling a critical need. Nigeria has over 200 million people, more than 500 languages.
Wow, 500 languages.
Yeah. And access to formal financial education is really limited, especially outside big cities, especially where multiple languages are spoken. It creates this huge language and literacy divide for financial knowledge.
So how can AI possibly bridge that kind of linguistic and educational gap?
The solution is a multilingual AI-powered financial advisor chatbot. It uses a whole suite of cutting-edge tools. LangChain for orchestration, OpenAI's GPT-4o for the core intelligence, Pinecone for finding relevant info quickly, and Meta's NLLB 200 model for translation.
NLLB 200, that handles many languages,
Over
right?
200 languages, yeah. High-quality translations.
So what's the real-world impact? What can this chatbot actually do for people?
It gives personalized financial advice, budgeting, investing, debt management, the basics in 5 key Nigerian languages right now: English, Nigerian Pidgin, Yoruba, Igbo, and Hausa.
And it speaks too.
Yes. It integrates localized text-to-speech from Speech TTS, so it delivers audio feedback in native Nigerian accents. That makes it incredibly accessible even for people with limited literacy or maybe unstable internet.
That really is thinking about inclusion. What makes it reliable, though? Financial advice needs to be accurate.
That's where the RAID framework comes in retrieval augmented generation.
Sure.
Like, it means the AI doesn't just make stuff up. Its responses are grounded in a curated library of reliable financial documents. This massively improves accuracy and cuts down on those infamous LLM hallucinations.
So it's trustworthy, or at least more trustworthy.
Much more. And this whole project really serves as a blueprint. You could imagine deploying similar AI agents for healthcare advice, agricultural support, legal services, and other emerging markets. It's about democratizing access to vital information.
It's genuinely powerful to see AI moving beyond convenience and really changing access to fundamental services.
Okay, zooming out a bit. What other daily life integrations or future visions are bubbling up?
Well, in medicine, Google Research has this AME model. It's moving beyond just diagnosis into longitudinal disease managing conditions over time. Apparently matching or even beating clinicians' reasoning in simulated multi-visit consultations.
That's significant. What about public safety?
Google Message is using AI now to try and detect scam texts. And maybe more seriously, even the military is looking hard at AI as a critical tool for future deterrence, potentially even in managing nuclear arsenals.
Wow, okay, that's quite the range. And mobility, logistics?
Well, driverless rides are already happening. Uber and Waymo have launched services in Austin, Texas. And in aviation, the first AI-enabled Airbus A320 flight simulator is now out there for training pilots, setting a new benchmark.
So it's just weaving its way into the fabric of everything.
Pretty much, often in ways we might not even directly notice day to day. And there you have it. We've covered a lot of ground today, really taking a deep dive into how AI is moving past the hype, tackling real-world complex challenges.
Yeah, from predicting food crises, tackling hate speech for vulnerable groups, improving education assessment, democratizing financial advice, AI is proving itself a powerful enabling force.
But as we've seen, it comes with caveats.
Absolutely. We've seen that critical importance of addressing privacy, ethics, and that constant need for human oversight to make sure these technologies are developed and used responsibly. It's a balancing act.
Human judgment remains central.
It has to be. It's the bedrock for making AI integration effective and safe.
So as AI continues to seep into, well, almost every aspect of our lives, the question we want to leave you with is this. What other invisible but maybe profoundly impactful areas of society do you think AI is poised to transform next? And perhaps more importantly, how can we collectively ensure these transformations truly prioritize the well-being and dignity of every single individual?